After 6 weeks of testimony from more than 30 witnesses, it has come down to this: closing arguments in the case.
Today, federal prosecutors presented their case, arguing that Combs created a climate of fear and that his alleged victims believed that if they didn't do what Combs demanded, it would result in serious harm. Prosecutors listed evidence they claim showed that the women did not have the freedom to make their own voluntary choices.
Eyewitness News reporter Dalla Miles.
All right, y'all. So today we're going to talk about the closing arguments for Diddy's trial. Last I checked, the prosecution was still going through with their closing arguments, but we're going to check out this news clip now and see exactly what they're talking about. All right.
Live in Lower Manhattan with more. Darla.
David and Liz, today the courtroom was as packed as it's been since the beginning of the trial. All of Combs' 6 adult children were present, his mother, as well as other members of his family. Today is the day after all of those weeks of testimony, all of those witnesses, and all of these government exhibits. Today was the day to make it all make sense to the jury. During closing arguments Thursday, federal prosecutors in the final leg in its case against Sean Diddy Combs using a lengthy...
Hey, I got to go back for a second, man. Did y'all see the picture they were showing in the courtroom, the slideshow? Did y'all see the picture of him is that him dragging Cassie right here? Man. I mean, just imagine if you're one of the jurors and you actually just seeing that, displayed as they're making their closing arguments. I mean, it seems like the prosecution just went crazy on Diddy's team today, but the artist looks like they drew a picture of Diddy dragging Cassie. I mean, that whole situation is crazy, man. Let's continue.
Arguments Thursday, federal prosecutors in the final leg in its case against Sean Diddy Combs using a lengthy slide presentation with a picture of Combs titled, "The Defendant Led the Combs Enterprise." Taking all day, trying to tie together 7 weeks of testimony and the legal basis for the 5-count indictment against the 55-year-old music mogul, arguing Combs, with his chief of staff and bodyguards, forced, threatened, and manipulated using power, violence, and fear against Cassie Ventura and her former girlfriend testifying under the name Jane, into participating in days-long drug-fueled sex.
All right, y'all. So this Jane person, that's 50 Cent's ex-baby mama, right? The lady that testified against him, Jane Doe. Not Jane Doe, but Jane. She's I believe that's 50 Cent's ex-baby mama or 50 Cent's ex. But look at this right here, man. Look at all these pills, candy probably laced with, all kinds of, things allegedly. But bro, Diddy's crazy, man. But let's continue.
Sexual encounters with male escorts, describing Christina Cora, or KK, as one of his most loyal lieutenants, who made $600,000 a year, mentioned more than 300 times during testimony.
Dang. $600,000 a year, man. If you're making $600,000 a year, setting up, freak sessions, you're going to smile like this all day long. Look at that smile. Look at them teeth, man. Well, she's showing them teeth, man. She's like $600,000 a year to set up freak sessions for Diddy. Boy, she's smiling, boy. Look at her. All right.
Dollars a year, mentioned more than 300 times during testimony. Jurors, again, watching the 2016 hotel video of Combs assaulting Ventura at an LA hotel as evidence of sex trafficking, prostitution, and the $100,000 bribe of a security guard to bury the surveillance video, saying it's a classic example of the Combs enterprise at work. Prosecutors telling the jury they only need to...
Listen, man, I don't care how many times we've seen this video with Diddy and whooping up on Cassie, but that video is hard to watch, man. That's just a really hard video to watch. Just, her just being defenseless like this and helpless like that, and him dragging her throughout the hotel hallway. It's a really tough video to watch, man. I'm showing what the news clip is showing. I personally wouldn't want to show it, but it's really tough to watch. Let's go.
To find Combs guilty of 2 of these underlying crimes, to convict him of racketeering conspiracy, using evidence photos and transcripts to remind jurors about the failed Molotov cocktail that set Kid Cudi's Porsche on fire, and the drugs they say Combs used to keep Ventura and Jane quiet and awake for days to engage in freak-offs. Jurors yawning at times, but for the most part alert and hyper-focused on the slide presentation, appearing to take copious notes. Now, closing arguments were only scheduled to last 3 to 4 hours. It's now been going on for 5.5 hours. Reporting live in Lower Manhattan, Darla Miles, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Now to the Sean Combs sex crimes trial.
Let's stop it right there. So if you guys noticed, they basically said that some of the jurors were yawning. Some of the jurors were actually yawning during the presentation. Rightfully so, man. Like, you have what they said it was originally supposed to be 3 hours, but it's 5 hours. 5 hours of presentation with the closing arguments. From what I can tell, man, it looks like Diddy's team did not introduce any witnesses, and did not also have like a closing argument. They basically just turned in the evidence that they have to prove Diddy's innocence. But from all the information that I'm gathering, with the fact that they basically, originally, took off some of the charges for Diddy, placed them back on. Well, they never took it off, actually. A lot of people, like the other day, where they basically was like, hey, he took off the kidnapping, the arson, but it's still there within the RICO, within the racketeering charge. So it's going to be a really tough role for Diddy. I believe that the jury is going to come up with a verdict prior to 4th of July, which is the holiday weekend next week. I think that's the main goal for them to do so. But, I'm going to keep my eye on this. This whole trial has been crazy, but it's actually been a pretty quick trial. I know Diddy wanted to get it over with because he felt like, he was going to be able to, prove his innocence. But, that's yet to be seen. I'm going to keep an eye on this, and appreciate y'all checking me out. All right. But y'all make sure to give this channel a subscribe. This is my first official video, but I will be uploading more, and I'll see y'all in the future. Peace.